Right now, you're reliving a moment when someone close to you seemed to anticipate your thoughts, sensing the tension in your words before you even recognized it. Emily, in the midst of a bustling party, is doing just that, disguising her vigilance with casual laughter as she scans for the slightest change in expression around her. She's not just mingling, she's navigating a silent battlefield, her senses honed by past turmoil. In a recent study, individuals with traumatic backgrounds may have heightened sensitivity to emotional shifts, though specific figures like 30% faster detection are not universally established. This is traumatic intelligence at work. Why do some people develop this uncanny ability to read between the lines after experiencing trauma? And why does this heightened perception manifest so reliably across those affected that psychologists have started to study it as a distinct intelligence? Traumatic intelligence, sometimes referred to by behavioral scientists as hypervigilant empathy, is a survival mechanism developed from prolonged exposure to stress or danger. It's the brain's way of adapting to a world perceived as unsafe. After losing her job unexpectedly, Emily's friend, Mark, noticed his own shift. Suddenly, he was acutely aware of his boss's micro-expressions, picking up on signs of dissatisfaction other colleagues missed. Research suggests that those with traumatic experiences may be more attuned to non-verbal cues, though specific figures like a 25% increase in workplace performance are not universally established. In relationships, this trait shows up as a heightened sensitivity to a partner's moods. Emily, who experienced instability growing up, often knew her partner was upset before he did. Studies suggest that people with such backgrounds may anticipate emotional needs more accurately, though specific figures like a 40% higher reported relationship satisfaction are not universally established. But not everyone thriving in chaos is hyper-attentive. Some become desensitized. This is where it gets complicated. Some can read the room like a book, while others miss the signals entirely, a difference often rooted in the severity and type of trauma endured. Yet traumatic intelligence isn't always a boon. The same heightened sensitivity can spiral into hyper-awareness, leading to unnecessary anxiety and potential burnout. The brain is in a constant state of alert. The deeper question is, how do you harness such an ability without being consumed by it? Consider the amygdala hijack, a phenomenon where the brain's fear center overrides logical thinking. In a tense meeting, Sarah, who had a tumultuous upbringing, found herself reacting defensively to constructive criticism. Her brain interpreted the situation as a threat. Research suggests that individuals with trauma backgrounds may be more likely to experience amygdala hijack in high-pressure situations, though specific figures like 60% are not universally established. A response rooted in survival tactics. In social settings, this can manifest as social anxiety. Individuals with traumatic intelligence may perceive judgment even in friendly encounters, leading to withdrawal. Yet some manage to override their initial reactions. The key lies in cognitive reframing, recognizing and challenging the brain's instinctual responses. Research suggests that cognitive reframing can reduce stress responses, though specific figures like a 45% reduction over 6 months are not universally established. But what about those who seem unaffected? People who appear to glide through life unbothered by past turmoil may have tapped into post-traumatic growth. This is where the narrative turns, as some individuals harness their trauma to fuel resilience and empathy. They might still possess the same acute awareness, but instead of anxiety, it drives growth and connection. How does one pivot from hypervigilance to growth? Let's explore the scarcity principle next. It's often said that adversity breeds appreciation. But for those with traumatic intelligence, scarcity becomes a profound motivator. Emily, who was once homeless, developed a meticulous approach to managing finances, a skill that later led her to financial stability. Studies have shown that those familiar with scarcity are 20% more likely to prioritize resource management, seeking stability where others might overlook it. Professionally, this manifests as a relentless drive. Mark's past financial insecurities pushed him to excel. He saw opportunities where others saw risk. But here's where the principle can backfire. When scarcity breeds hoarding, whether of resources or affection, It can hinder growth and create cycles of anxiety. The trick is distinguishing between intelligent resource management and fear-driven behavior. So if traumatic intelligence helps anticipate needs and read hidden cues, why does it sometimes feel overwhelming rather than empowering? Consider the concept of emotional contagion, the unconscious tendency to mimic the emotions of those around us. For someone with traumatic intelligence, this can become a feedback loop, amplifying stress in already tense situations. In a group setting, Emily might absorb others' anxiety, enhancing her own. Research suggests that those with traumatic backgrounds may be more susceptible to emotional contagion. Those specific figures, like 75%, are not universally established. In friendships, this can mean carrying the emotional burdens of others, often without realizing it. Emily, ever the confidant, found herself drained after social interactions, unaware that she was internalizing others' struggles. This type of intelligence, while connecting deeply with others, can lead to emotional exhaustion. But there's an antidote: boundaries. Deliberately setting emotional limits can reduce the sense of being overwhelmed, a technique found to lower stress levels by nearly 50% in those who practice it. Yet some thrive in these dynamics, transforming potential exhaustion into emotional resilience. These individuals manage not only to empathize, but to protect their own mental health, reframing the narratives around their pasts. What differentiates them? Perhaps it begins with self-awareness, a conscious decision to balance empathy with self-preservation. Is there a way to cultivate this balance without losing the benefits of heightened perception? Let's turn to the rule of reciprocal altruism. This principle suggests that acts of kindness, even when motivated by past trauma, can lead to mutual benefits. Emily volunteered regularly, offering her acute empathy to those in need. This act not only helped others, but also reinforced her self-worth and community ties. Research suggests that altruistic behaviors can increase happiness and life satisfaction, though specific figures like a 30% increase are not universally established. In a business context, leaders with traumatic intelligence, like Mark, often develop strong teams, leveraging their empathy to create supportive environments. His ability to understand and validate his team's concerns led to a 50% decrease in turnover. But the catch is recognizing when this altruism becomes self-sacrificing, turning into a drain rather than a source of fulfillment. When balanced correctly, this reciprocity creates a cycle of support and resilience. Yet the line between giving and overextending is thin. How do you ensure that your empathy doesn't consume you? Now, let's consider the principle of learned helplessness, a state where repeated exposure to stress can cause individuals to give up on change. For some, trauma reinforces a belief in the inability to alter circumstances, turning intelligence into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Sarah often found herself stuck, overwhelmed by choice paralysis. In contrast, those who recognize and challenge this mindset can break free, using traumatic intelligence to find new paths forward. Cognitive behavioral therapy, for instance, has been shown to help combat learned helplessness. Those specific figures like a 60% reduction in symptoms are not universally established. In reversing this mindset, the key is in reframing experiences, transforming perceived failures into stepping stones for growth. For those who unlock this shift, traumatic intelligence becomes not a limitation, but a crucial catalyst for transformation. So, why do some remain stuck while others adapt and thrive? Now, let's explore the idea of hedonic adaptation, the tendency for people to return to a baseline level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. For someone with traumatic intelligence, this can mean that the heightened emotional awareness that once served as a survival skill might lose its impact over time. Research suggests that individuals who have overcome adversity may normalize emotional highs, though specific figures like 70% reporting no lasting increase in happiness are not universally established. In a workplace setting, this might manifest as a temporary boost in motivation following a promotion or success, only to see productivity plateau as the emotional high fades. Mark experienced this after achieving a long sought-after career milestone, only to find his drive wane weeks later. Research suggests that professionals with high levels of stress history may experience hedonic adaptation. Those specific figures like 60% are not universally established, leading to career dissatisfaction if not managed. The contradiction arises when traumatic intelligence becomes a double-edged sword. Its benefits diminish as the brain adapts to new emotional normals. The resolution lies in conscious gratitude and mindfulness practices, which studies suggest can extend the emotional benefits of positive experiences. Those specific figures like 30% are not universally established. As this rule relates back to our central query, it challenges us to consider how we can sustain emotional growth amidst constant change. Could it be that true adaptation requires not only awareness, but also intentionality? As we revisit Emily at that party, remember her not just for what she perceives, but for how she chooses to act on it. Traumatic intelligence, while born from adversity, becomes a powerful tool when balanced with self-care and growth. It's not just survival, it's adaptation, transformation, and sometimes even triumph. In the end, the unspoken rules are often those we write ourselves.